Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Next to me here sits a 2001 EasyGo TXT 36 volt that we're going to convert over to lithium using a battery from Vatrer Battery. Come along for the ride, let's get started. Alright, here it is, the donor cart that we're going to use, and we've got it basically ready to go. I've pulled all the lead acid batteries out. I actually converted this one over to an aluminum frame setup. Got rid of that rusty battery tray that was in there. And in this box is our Vatrer battery. Haven't even taken it out of the box yet. Our friends over at Vatrer Battery asked me if I could do a video on a 36 volt EasyGo, and I said absolutely. So here we go. We'll get it unboxed. I'll take some measurements. We'll get an idea of how it's going to sit down in there, and I'll show you just how easy this is to do. Comes with a nice, easy to follow along instruction packet. It tells you how to hook up the Bluetooth to your phone. Got the battery out. We've got our charger set up in here. We'll go through that a little bit later. And in this box, we should have our LCD screen. And again, we'll go through that a little bit later as well. All right, so this is going to be a 105 amp hour battery. I really like how compact it is, coming in at just under 13 inches wide. And with the handles, probably about 10 inches tall, and with the feed extensions for the hold down, we're looking at about 18 inches. All right, and like I mentioned, this is going to be our LCD display screen. I really like this setup. It's just plug and play, goes right into here. This is going to plug into the screen. I'll get this dug out of here and show you a little closer. So our LCD screen will be able to mount up under the dash. We can run the wire. And again, it's a plug and play setup, so it's just going to be plugging these two together. Get that where you can see it. There we go. And a nice bag of hardware here. So we got some covers for the positive and negative, and then of course some bolts for the positive and negative as well to put our cables on there. So let's go over to the cart and see how it's going to fit. Now, if my measurements are correct, yes, this should be perfect. The battery should sit right in there, and it does. Love it when a plan comes together. Alright, well that couldn't have worked out much better. Gives us just enough clearance on both sides. I've got it centered in there pretty decent where I like it. And it's going to give us a nice opportunity to put our positive and negative on there. Plenty of room to run our wire for our LCD screen. We'll talk about the charger here in just a minute. Now there's a couple ways you could fasten this down. One is drill some holes, use some quarter 20 bolts or something, but if you've watched the channel any length of time at all, you already know what I'm going to say here. I'm going to run self-tappers in there. Boom. I wish these were about half the length. I'm out of the shorter ones, but I can always reach up under there and grind the bottoms off of these. They're going to be way too long, but just for convenience sake, that's probably what I'll do. We've got a couple options for the charger. It can be either over there or in the back here. We'll talk about that when we get that far, but let me get it bolted in and see how that goes. Okay, just like that, lickety split. We've got one on each corner here. Hopefully my camera will focus. Now I'll grab that charger and we'll figure out where a good spot for that is. Charger consists of 3 components. Obviously the charger itself and 2 pigtails. One pigtail is going to plug into here and go to the battery. The other pigtail is going to plug into the other side, and that will be where you plug it in to charge it. So now it's just a matter of deciding where I want to put it. I could put it catty corner over here and kind of keep it out of the way of like road debris and things. Although from the factory they put the controller right behind the tire on that side. So what I'm thinking I'll do is I'll put it over here, and that'll leave us a spot if we wanted to put like a plastic tray or a bucket or something in here. You know, a small tote that we could bolt in for like a tow strap or tools or whatever you wanted to haul. That could be conveniently under the seat. So I think I'll just, again, my favorite thing, self-tap this bad boy right into here somewhere, and then we can run over with our plug-in for the charger, and we'll be able to have the other cord for the wall outlet. A little smaller ones this time. We don't need those big honkers like I used on the battery by any means. Get Get that in there where I want it. In fact, someone called me out in the last video and said, why'd you only put 2 in the battery and 4 in the charger? Well, there was a couple reasons for that. One was I knew that cart had to come back apart and I would be doing something else with the mounting plate. And 2, I probably got a little over carried away with the charger hold down. So I'm only using 2 on this charger is what I'm getting at. Now this just clips together like that, and that's going to give you your positive and negative for your charger. Of course, this will plug into the other side, and that's going to be our wall outlet. So we'll set that down in there for a second. My goal here is to try to get you in close enough where you can see what I'm doing without getting my hands in the way. Now these are marked. Battery positive is actually brown, battery negative is blue, so just be aware of that. Went into our hardware kit, and I like to use the shorter ones just because I don't want to damage the battery by threading it in too far. Probably got my hands in the way here, sorry. So what I was saying is the shorter of the bolts, there's a short and a long, and if you're not stacking a bunch of cables up here, I think short is probably a better option just because, I've already got this wrong. You wouldn't want to thread too far in and damage the internals of that battery. That would be a bad day. Although I don't know if it's possible, but I'm just speaking from experience in the automotive world. That's what I would do. Alright, let's get our negative on here, hand tight. Grab our positive. This cart doesn't have any headlights or any accessories, so we don't have a voltage reducer to contend with. It's literally just going to be positive and negative to the controller and positive and negative from the charger. Go ahead and snug these down. You want to make sure they're tight but not over tight, if that makes sense. And I'll probably come back through here with some zip ties. Alright, so what have we done? We've got our negative from our controller. We've got our positive. I say goes to the controller, but it actually goes to the solenoid. And we've got our positive and negative from our battery charger. So now there's only one step left, and that is to put our LCD screen in, which will plug in right here, run the wires up under the cart, and bring it through and probably mount that right here. Good spot to mount that, and that looks actually really good right there. I'll grab a hole saw to run the wire through. Thought I'd get you over here a little closer, but this contour of this gauge actually almost matches perfectly the contour of the dash. So we'll put a couple of screws in right here, and then get that out of the way for just a second. I'm going to go back there and punch a hole through so we can drop the wire through, and you could either go down through the bottom, which is going to be hard to get to unless we come up from the bottom side maybe, or through the side. Either way will work. That way we'll have enough room to run the wire through from the battery. That's a pretty crazy angle. Let's see what our options are coming from underneath. I was trying to capture that for you, and apparently my camera fell over, so sorry about that, but just came through from the underneath by the front tire. It was a lot easier to get to than trying to get in there. Alright, it's just as simple as plugging this in. Now it does only go one way, so make sure you do that, and then you just thread this collar on right here until it's snug. So I've got my wire. I'll run that down, zip tie it up on the frame, and then come through where we just made that hole. I just changed my mind one little tiny bit. I'm actually going to run the wire across behind the battery here, then down and up, instead of having to crisscross the frame and by the steering and all that on this side. I think that makes more sense. There's already provisions in the frame over here for like a headlight wiring, so we'll just go right through there. Heard that nice click when it went together. Grab a couple of screws to go in there. Peel the protective layer off. Turn my light off so it doesn't glare so much. That should be everything we need. We should be able to power up the battery. Yep. Heard something click. Let's walk over there and power on the smart screen. All right, there we go. Get that so it doesn't glare for you, hopefully. We're at 47%, 39.56 volts. The temperature is 85.1. Go to page 2, it tells you if your charger or anything is on. Page 3 tells you the condition of each cell. Pretty awesome. All right, does the cart move? There we go. I do not have a reverse buzzer, so you're not going to hear that. Perfect. Now I'll show you how to hook up the app. All right, now if you want to use the Bluetooth on your phone, it comes with this nice detailed instructions. I already have the Vatrer app on my phone, so it instantly picks up on the Bluetooth portion, and then you can go through and see a lot of the same things that you see on that LCD screen. Temperature, charging cycles, condition of each cell, and so on. So pretty awesome. Well, that's pretty much it. We're hooked up. I do highly recommend going through with some zip ties and make sure all of this is secure and not just laying in there. Take a chance of it dragging on the ground and tearing something out or wearing a hole through with vibration. All right, now you might be at home thinking, well, I don't have the resources to fabricate and you know, do what you did with the center brace there. That's okay. You could actually put like a 2x6 or a 2x4 and raise that up to this level and then bolt everything down that way. You can use self tappers like I did, which is super easy, or you could literally drill and use, like I said, like a 1/4 or a 5/16, whatever you wanted, bolt in there. So don't stress over that. If you don't have a way to do that, or if your battery tray is real rusty and you don't want to mess with it, you can still get this install done with a little creativity. The only thing you want to do is just make sure the battery is secure in there. Doesn't really matter how you do it. Like I said, I like the size of this battery because it's not super bulky and it leaves us enough room to put like a tote or something. You could probably measure that and, you know, run down to the hardware store and find a nice tote or even build a tray for back in there. Well, there's only one thing left to do. Let's go test it out. Wow. This thing is a rocket ship now.